Hello, my name is Stephen Wright. I'm a career coach here at Career Mentor, and we help high-performing financial services professionals make their next smart career move. Have you ever been in a situation where you've now signed an offer letter and you've committed to joining a new firm, and yet you have the awful feeling that there are more than a few loose ends which should have been clarified and agreed upon before you signed? And yet you have signed, you've made a commitment, there's no turning back, and also you've lost any negotiating leverage that you might have had. Well, here are three issues that it might be worth becoming very clear about and nailing down before you make that commitment, before you sign that document. Now, they may seem blindingly obvious, and yet you'd be surprised as to how many people let these issues slide in the momentum and excitement of coming to a successful conclusion of their job search with the thought that, oh, don't worry, it'll be okay, it will work itself out. Now, I'm speaking not only from all the things that I observed in those years when I was in executive search, but also I've made all three of these mistakes myself at the outset of my career, so I'm speaking from that experience too. There are three issues. Let's go through the first one now. The first is to become very clear about precisely what it is that this job entails and what they want you to achieve. What specifically do you want me to achieve? What are the measurable results that you want to see? In what timeline? Where does this role fit within the value chain of your organization, and how will this role move your business forward? Become clear about all those things and agree upon them. And by the way, in this particular point, watch out for any differences of opinion that may be held by the leadership team which is responsible for hiring you. And if indeed there are differences of opinion, then be careful or make sure that they are ironed out and acknowledged and agreed upon before you sign anything, because you don't want to be going into a job where different people have got different opinions about what this job is all about. The second point is, who will you be reporting to? Now, ideally, you want to be reporting to just one person. That person will be responsible for leading you, managing you, setting your objectives and the results to be achieved, writing your appraisal, and paying your bonus. I understand that in large organizations which have multiple product lines, multiple service lines, different departments, and maybe different geographies, there can be dotted line reporting. But it's ideal if you have just that one person whose job it is to look after you and to who you report to. As an extreme example of something that's less than ideal, I was talking to one person who was thinking about joining a firm. And when I asked, well, who specifically will you be reporting to? The answer was, well, three different people based in three different continents. And I got the impression that none of them were particularly engaged in the hiring process. And that's far from ideal, because you're going to be left in a no man's land on arrival. The third thing to be thinking about is, what resources will your manager be providing you in order to get the agreed job done? Now, to an extent, this does depend on your plan, and creating your plan in agreement with the person that you're reporting to is something that needs to be done, but it's a scope for another video. Suffice to say, you need to be reassured that the firm will resource you properly so that you can achieve the objectives that they want within the timeline that they have in mind. And so another example would be, I asked somebody who'd been given a task which was pretty chunky task and a fairly tight timeline, and I said, well, what resources are they going to provide you? And the answer was, well, they gave me a slightly half-hearted promise of half the time of an overworked, untrained intern, and that clearly wasn't going to cut it. These things do need to be sorted out before you sign, while you've got some sort of negotiating leverage. If you do focus on these three areas, become really clear about them, and as I say, nail them down before you join, then you'll have gone a long way to preventing completely avoidable job search mistakes. These areas of negotiating before you join an organization are a key component of our first 90-day coaching program, where we help our clients make sure that they negotiate very well on the way in and then have an outstanding first 90 days in their new job with their new firm. If you'd like to learn more about that, there's plenty of information about our first 90-day coaching program on our website. And of course, if you'd like to have a chat about it, then please do get in touch and we can easily set up a call. I hope you found that useful. I'll be putting the blog that I wrote about this in the comments below, and thanks very much.